Aloha everybody, I'm Ulu and I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii, and this is my third video blog. Kind of having fun with these, so I think I'll be making more. um, I'm doing a video blog because I joined Empower Network 7 days ago today, so it's been 1 week today. And it's an online marketing system, and you can make money just by blogging. And of course, the more you blog, the more potential you have. There are a number of other ways to earn money online as well, and they teach you all of those ways to do it. If you join Empower Network, it's $25. You get a whole bunch of tools, you get a whole bunch of information, you get a whole bunch of knowledge, and it's just incredible the amount of information and tools and knowledge that you get for $25. I'm not even joking. But I want to talk to you about, in my last video I said I was going to talk about the most valuable things I learned. My last one was my #1 lesson. Today is not necessarily, I wouldn't say it was my #2 lesson, but I want to talk about this concept of being all in, because it's something that came up for me today, and it has also been a very valuable lesson for me. So we get asked all the time, are you all in? And if you're not, you got to get all in. And that speaks directly to the idea of commitment, because what I've learned so well over the last 7 days is that you can't expect to be successful at anything you do in life unless you commit 150% to doing it. That's the only way. So they ask you that, are you all in? Because however much money you make by online marketing is directly related to how much effort you put into it. It's directly related to how committed you are to doing it. So it is about commitment, being all in. And what I found over the last week as well is that there are a lot of deterrents to commitment. Primarily fear. Fear pops up in a number of different ways. One of my first fears was I had to post something to Facebook, and I was afraid. I actually wrote a blog about it. I think that was my second blog. That I was afraid to post stuff to Facebook because I didn't want my friends to realize that I had joined internet marketing. Because a lot of people look at these things and they think, oh, that's a scam. And I didn't want my friends to think that I'm gullible and I'm wasting myself on a scam. But then I had to ask myself, am I all in? And you know what? I am. So I posted that to Facebook. And I said, if my friends don't support me, then they're not my friends. And that was just the first of many fears that have popped up since then. So we're reading this book. They encourage us to read every day because if you want to think like a successful person, then you should understand how successful people think. And so one of these books that we're reading is called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. It was published in, I think, 1975. So it's been around a long time, and it's gained the popularity that it has simply by word of mouth, no advertising at all. And Dr. Maltz, he was actually a plastic surgeon. And in his 60s, he retired, and he started writing about this kind of stuff. And basically, he tells you how to change the core of the way you think so that you think like a successful person. So we're also listening to this YouTube video it's produced by, I think, this guy named Dan Kennedy. But he was a student of Dr. Maltz, and so his YouTube video actually talks about a lot of the concepts in Dr. Maltz's book, and I'll post a link to that YouTube video on the bottom of this blog. But he talks about a picture of what, if the self-image had a picture, what it would look like. And the self-image is important because the self-image is what drives you to make all the decisions that you make. If you have a fear, it's the self-image that tells you, hey, maybe you should not do that. The self-image determines the kind of personality that you are, the kind of decisions you make, the kind of character you are, that kind of stuff. So if you gave a picture to it, he says it would look like this. So the self-image is, well, first there's a solid line, a box with a solid line, and that represents real limits. And then there's a box inside of that with a dotted line, and that reflects self-imposed limits. And so for a lot of people, their self-image looks something like this, where this is how they see themselves. This tiny little box inside of this great big box. Yeah? This tiny little box is the potentials that we believe ourselves to have. The big box is the potentials that we actually have. So let me give you an example. Mr. Kennedy uses the example of real limits, the solid line. He's 42 years old at the time that he's filming this, that he's making this video, and obviously he can't be a quarterback in the NFL. He's too old. They'd never accept him. So that's a very real limit. That's the solid line. The dotted line is he wanted to be a horse jockey for this type of horse racing where you attach a cart to the back of the horse. Now, he can be one of those jockeys because, in fact, many of the people in the sport are older than him. So it is a very real possibility. But when he started looking into doing it, his dotted line, his self-imposed limits started telling him, no, you can't do that, you're too old, you're too out of shape, you're not strong enough, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of reasons why he can't. His dotted line was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But then he realized those are just fears. They're not real. So he decided to do it anyway. And when he did, his dotted line, it expanded from here all the way out. And the most successful people in the world, their dotted line actually overlaps their solid line. So after going through that, I realized my dotted line, my little dotted box, was really, really tiny inside of that great big box. And that needed to change. And how does it change? Well, you decide that you're all in. Because when you decide that you're all in, you decide to not address or not acknowledge a lot of those self-imposed limits. So let me give you an example. This is probably more along the lines of ego or pride as a deterrent. But I signed up for a Hawaiian language class this summer. Actually, I didn't sign up. I'm not even technically registered. Not a lot of people would go to a class that they're not even registered for. I'm not getting a grade. I'm not getting any kind of academic reward out of this. But I signed up for a 200 level language class. I've completed 400 already. But I decided to go to this 200 level class because I needed a refresher. I wanted to be around the language. I wanted to hear it again. And so for the first couple days, I've been sitting there. It's been really easy. And I've asked myself, should I do the homework? Because I'm not even technically registered. And every time I ask myself that, the answer comes back, well, are you all in? Because if you're all in, you're going to do everything that it takes to succeed at this. And the really funny thing is, I went to class today, and we did an exercise in class about something very foundational in the Hawaiian language, the difference between O possessives and A possessives. And I didn't know how to do the assignment. I'm supposed to know all this stuff. I'm at 400 level Hawaiian language, and I didn't know how to do that assignment. So obviously, I needed to be all in if I want to reach my potential when it comes to knowing the Hawaiian language.